Hello and welcome to our painting stream and D&D miniature making stream in general. So today we have several projects to work on that are gonna mostly be glue based. We have some ongoing projects, like you just started a horse, but we've hit a certain point where we're ready to start doing some gluing. So, we do make miniatures for our D&D show that airs Sundays at 2 p.m. Eastern. And a lot of these models we print ourselves on those machines over there. If you're interested in the designs, they can be found on our website, dicendungeons.com, under the attributions page. So, today we have a few things to work on. We have some finishing touches on these sewer tiles we made a while ago. We have these beams, plastic beams with holes in them, that will be painted and slotted in to these tops, and then we can run bars down to create barred sewer grates. We have 2 more of these printing right now. And when they're done, I'm going to give them a quick primer spritz. And we'll get those ready. We also have part of a sort of bandit watchtower. So we have 4 of these that we're going to be figuring out today how to combine and add in a floor. And when this is all done and in, we will be priming and painting that at some point as well. There's also a ladder over there somewhere, but we'll add that at the very end. I think it might be down in the bucket.
In the bucket of primer.
The random bucket of stuff.
There's at least 1 ladder.
So, we also have a slight repair job to do. When we were gathering figures for the Halloween special, we found that Rod's arm had somehow come off.
Oh no, the scroll arm.
I know. I don't know how. But I figure while we're gluing, when you get it nice and tacky, we'll just reattach that.
Mm-hmm.
So there'll be a little bit of so if you look here, this arm broke off on this piece. And we will be showing an example of how to repair a mini that you might have and want to fix rather than have to start all over again. Does that sound good?
I'd rather not start all over.
So,
yeah,
it's
let's
a
take
pretty,
it back on.
It's a clean break, and I think once the glue is nice and tacky, it will go on pretty smoothly.
Mm-hmm. Won't have to hold it more than a couple minutes.
Max, especially if you let the glue set slightly.
Yeah. So do you want Zoria's staff repaired too?
Yeah, we can do that if we're doing some repair today.
Mm-hmm.
What I'm gonna be doing for a second here is moving these sewer tiles out of the way so we have some space to work. And I think those just finished, but I'm gonna let them cool a little. They we use PLA prints, so they come out kind of warm because it's literally melting plastic and depositing it. So I'm gonna let those cool a little, and then I'm gonna prime these bars. But
let me see if the ladder needs priming.
And what we'll do with the bars is give them a quick coat of steel. And then once that dries, we'll put an umber wash on them to make them rusty steel.
You have like 8 ladders. How many do you have?
Yeah, and some of these are for scaffolding, and I'm not sure. Are there any longer ones? I feel like...
No, look.
I feel like none of these ladders are tall enough. Maybe if it's straight up, but it feels like it's a little short. There should be like a longer ladder. It might be on the desk over there, too. On the workstation.
All these ladders are the same.
Yeah, check over in this area underneath.
In this pile of stuff.
Underneath things. But hey, we could prime these ladders as well.
Yeah.
Huh. It looks like oh, we're having some latency issues. That's why it looked like our stream derped for a second.
Yeah, it is raining.
Yeah.
Pretty heavily again.
So we've had torrential rains in the area, so we might have periodic issues.
Kind of non-stop rain for a week. I don't see any other ladders.
We won't worry about the ladder this second. What we'll do is start putting all of the framework together. I'm thinking, process-wise, what we should do is figure out where we want to. We're thinking of putting little joiners or joists together to hold this all together. So I think we should think through where we want it so that this can rest on top of the joists and have a little vertical support. So, and then I think we should do like well, actually, to make sure it's square, it might be best to actually glue it around using the square piece as like the primary thing to sort of center everything properly.
Miscellaneous pile of sticks. You can never have too many balsa wood sticks.
He has a large collection of balsa wood sticks and everything from just collected over time.
Because you'll always need them.
And we're going to be doing a fair amount of gluing, so you might want to grab either the mineral spirit, probably the isopropyl alcohol for various cleanups.
There will be cleanups.
And those sticks we can probably just cut with scissors, right?
These, yeah.
The length.
Just one of these little knives.
Yeah. Alright.
You want to see if they work in the corner?
So, the main thing is that they need to be smaller than the width of the holes here. Man, we're having some technical difficulties. Are we even online right now?
I don't know.
I'm getting a red.
It's like a router beast or something.
Checking quick. We're saying 0 kilobytes per second. Okay, we just reconnected. So we are having some major internet blips today.
Probably because of the non-stop rain for a week, right?
Most likely. We'll see. Oh, we just dropped again and came back. I'm not sure how good this show is going to be if we're constantly facing issues, but until it gets worse, we're going to just push on. So the main thing is that this this balsa wood chunk here is smaller than that, so it doesn't really show as much, which this piece looks like it is. Should be good. And I think what we're going to want to do is, do we want this to sit directly above the bottom?
Yeah, just like that.
So what we'll do is we'll use the very bottom of this line as a guide for where the balsa wood should get glued. And have it like that, basically. And then we should just get a relatively standardized size. Do we want it to just run the whole length?
Let me see that just a second.
Yeah.
The other thing. So you want these to be
joined like that,
right? So that they're both on the outside of the
balsa lines. Yeah.
Okay.
So we'll be putting it.
Just wanted to make sure that they didn't overlap.
So the balsa wood will sit at the outmost edge. of each, starting from there and going down.
Right.
My only question is, do we care if the balsa wood goes all the way to the foot?
I would put it all the way to the foot. That way you get a good secure connection.
Do we have more balsa wood this size?
Well, that'll be enough for this. Or close to it.
Well, maybe. If we have them going all the way to the edge.
And we have
4 times.
at least one.
Okay.
One more. 2 more.
Then we should be good.
Yeah, we have plenty of it.
So let's get a measurement, because these should all be standardly the same size. Yeah. So let's get one like piece cut to size, and then we can use that as a measure for all the others.
Right. You want it
from the bottom of the platform.
Right about there.
Yeah, because the platform should rest on top of it.
Mm-hmm.
So.
And we should go down to the bottom, so it would be.
Yeah.
We'll cut one here, and if it works, we'll make more.
Yeah, we're disconnecting a lot. We're in the red right now.
Okay, right.
Yeah, that looks right. And we'll need 4 of these, I believe.
Yeah, it's still cutting out, isn't it?
Yeah.
I wonder if it is upstairs too.
I don't know.
When you go up to Brian's.
I'm just doing a quick check on some stuff. I want to see how if we're connecting at all. Yeah, we're like very delayed and choppy, and just a giant mess. If this is what we're getting live. Okay, I'm gonna stop the stream for now. If it watches at all, we're going to assess what's going on, and if we can get it fixed, we will be back shortly.
Or if it's Comcast,
if our ISP is messing up, or a storm has destroyed something important infrastructure-wise, we might not be back, but we will see. All right, thanks for coming, everyone. Alright, hello and welcome. Hopefully things are going to be working better. We were having some major technical difficulties with the internet that we hopefully have sorted. I'll start over from scratch. Welcome to our D&D painting show. This is where we print, paint, and design and do all sorts of stuff for D&D miniatures. And we use them on our show, which airs Sundays at 2 p.m. Eastern. All of the things we use, we either purchase, but most of them we print ourselves on the 3D printers, just behind me here. Like this is part of a sewer dungeon set that we've made before that we're putting some finishing touches on today. And if you're interested in the designers, you can go to our website, dysondungeons.com, and under the attributions tab, all of these, the creators of these, are listed. We have 4 of these sewer dungeon tile sets we're going to be working on today. Today's a bit of a glue day. We're gonna be doing some repairs on some minis. We're gonna be doing putting these together, and we're gonna be putting together a sort of bandit tower, watchtower, a little wooden structured bandit watchtower. Right now, my dad, who normally does these streams with me, is up putting some primer on a couple of the pieces that we'll be using in this stream. Some bars will be going across the top of these, and we'll be running some rusted nails down to create like a vertical bar system that goes across this section of sewer tunnel. We have 4 separate configurations that we'll be doing with these walls and half walls. So this configuration lets you put a bar in the middle of a tunnel, for example, but something like this lets you put in a corner piece and have it turn or open into a room. All of these models that we're using, we have magnetized, so they hold together more easily. They're glued onto bases, as you can see here, with small metal magnets inside the bases that let them snap together, and so when you're using them on a tabletop, they hold together a bit better. Yeah. So my dad should be back down shortly with the primed pieces, and in the meantime, for the bandit watchtowers, they're very flat, so we have cut some pieces of just balsa wood to create sort of a joist for a gluing surface and extra support. And you'll see how that works in a little bit here. Otherwise, I don't have too terribly much to work on. I have this little jaguar guy that we started. I might just fill in some time and color in his base here. Or I might touch him up and give him a little finishing and then put on the base, actually. Because the finishing can drip down a little bit, so yeah, I'll just get to work on that for the time being. Nothing too fancy until the gluing is ready. So, but since this is a jaguar and they're very dark, I gave this guy a little bit of dark gray coat, and I'm going to give him an umber or a black wash over the top of it to really tone him down to an almost black. Although now that I do that, yeah, I think I did a dark blue on it. Yeah, we're hi there. Yeah, yes, we have the internet fixed. We had an internet blip earlier. Yeah, we're making little D&D miniatures and sets for our D&D stream. Where we're doing a bit of a gluing day. How is the priming going?
The other can's empty, but I got half of it one side. Unwrapping the primer for the other side of the things we're priming.
So the main thing we're going to be gluing today, we have these are parts of a sewer dungeon that we've made that we're going to be putting some finishing touches on. We're putting a bar across the top so that we can have a grating go across.
Bars.
We're going to do a little miniature repair and put together a little bandit watchtower. So it'll be pretty exciting once you bring down some pieces once they're dry.
I have to do the other side.
Gotcha.
So I'll give them a few minutes.
In the meantime, do you want to start some glue and we can do some miniature repair?
Yep. Get your miniature.
So sometimes with D&D miniatures, you know, just as you're using them and walking around with them, they can be fragile and they can break. So like this guy had his arm break off. We have the other piece here. You know, it depends a lot on the quality of the miniature and also just their use. But what we'll be doing today, as part of our gluing day, is reattaching the arm on another figure. We have the head of a staff broke off, so we'll be reattaching that as well. Thank you. And yeah, I'm gonna be continuing to work on this little jaguar that I made. I guess that's a puma, and I have this is the jaguar that I painted here. Yeah, there he is. But that's just sort of to fill in. Yeah, this guy was kind of fun to paint, doing all the little spots. And we've been doing a lot of horses lately. So, like, here's a little war horse that we painted for just having around.
Yeah. Broken sky.
There's the jaguar. It's spot. Alright, so gluing. Thank you. We're gonna be doing some epoxy work on that. And epoxy is, you know, epoxy is done in a two-part, where you have the glue itself and a thickener, or hardener, sorry. I'm used to cooking stews using thickeners. But yes, a hardener that you combine together, and this is 5-minute epoxy, which means it takes 5 minutes to set. So, we have these two minis. So, for example, her staff head is broken. The staff she's holding, the head of it is broken off. And we'll be reattaching that. Sometimes these cameras do not like to focus. But, yeah. So it's just this little piece of staff head that will get gluing on, and his arm will be returned.
So I'm mixing like the smallest amount possible, because they're both very tiny things.
Basically 1 drop of each.
And we're going to let it actually set up
Slightly.
for a while, like two minutes or so.
To get it tackier.
So that we don't have to hold it motionless in position for too long, because that can get pretty tedious. Yeah.
And while we're waiting for that, I am going to be sort of bumping up the paint on this Puma. Because it had a couple spots that just needed some touching up. And I want to get them all in place before I get to, I want to put a coat of black wash, which is a very thin sort of paint that in this case is black, to sort of bring this Puma down to a dark color. But before I do that, and since you're waiting on glue, did you bring your dice tray in here?
The head of the staff was in the dice tray. It's so small I didn't want to
lose it.
drop it somewhere along the way. It would be impossible to find.
Yes, so that can be a problem with miniatures sometimes.
It's small things.
And I'm actually, so this Puma's actually a dark blue that I'm doing, so that when I put a black wash on it, it'll give a nice sort of rich color.
Except you're putting black paint.
This isn't black.
Oh, it's dark blue. Sorry.
That's what I was going for.
Oh, you're just touching up.
I'm touching up and putting an extra layer so it's more consistent across.
Okay.
Because we didn't print this specific one. This was a purchased model. That I find with some of the purchased models, the primer and the way the paint sticks to it isn't nearly as good. So
do you want to hold your staff? I'll hold the arm, you hold the staff.
Okay. Since the other one is your figure.
No.
Are we at gluing stage?
Yeah, we can begin the gluing stage.
Alright. Let me clean off my brush so that I can do that.
You're going to have to hold it for about 2 minutes.
Yep.
Oh, that's a glass light. I hope this holds it.
So, you put a tiny spot of glue in the spot where it needs to go, and then you just
match up.
Try and match it up, and yeah, this is part of repairing a figure. It's not the most exciting thing in miniature making, but it is a good way to conserve some work and money. If you've invested a lot of time and energy into a piece, you don't want to lose it. I think you're holding it backwards. Yeah, like that. See?
Just trying to get it lined up.
And this isn't gonna be like the best ultimate perfect like it won't be exactly how it was when you first got it. But for D&D, sometimes, you know, that's enough. Just trying to get this in place. Having trouble with the arm.
Yeah, it's just not lining it.
Well, that's part of it, is you're putting the arm on backwards. It goes on like that.
Part of being backward is the backwardness of it. Okay. Now we're going to have to touch that up with a little paint. Because the epoxy's showing a little bit, and it will be glossy.
Yes. That is something. You can paint over epoxy, but it is shiny. Like what we did for the sewer tiles here in front of us is we put a small trail of epoxy down the middle of it to show sort of a little bit of a drainage, a wetness.
And there's just no way to hold it.
Alright. Looks like you might have gotten it. And this is the exciting part of glue. Right?
Mm-hmm. Yep, watching glue dry is not nearly as much fun as watching paint dry. Because oftentimes you need to keep holding it.
At least with finite pieces like this. So, in the meantime, what are your plans for your last course that you're painting?
I'm thinking of painting it garishly with purples and yellows and maybe green, because, you know, purple and green always go together so well.
Mm-hmm.
Red and blue would be probably not bright enough.
So mine is sticking enough that I can make some micro adjustments to make sure it's sort of on right, but that's sort of what it's supposed to look like with the staff head there.
And this looks like about as good as it's going to get.
Yeah, and that's about as good as it's gonna get. So I'm going to gently set the figure off to the side because it will take a little longer to glue fully. And yeah, that's a little model repair. Hopefully it'll hold. But
you know, tiny little paint touch up probably on this. Maybe.
so I'm gonna just keep painting this last coat on this Jaguar.
I'm gonna go up and paint the other side, prime the other side of those.
So
we're working on.
The reason he's going upstairs, we're currently working out of our basement, is when you prime, it's usually in a spray can, and you really don't want to be inhaling all of the fumes that come with it. So, yeah, I'm gonna keep working on this Jaguar, get it nice and dark, and then I'll probably give it a second to dry and then put an umber or a black wash over it to just finalize it. And that will let me put in the color for the ground it's standing on. Alright. And that's something to be careful of, is sometimes if you set the model down a little awkwardly, you can get some paint on your fingers. But I'll just clean that up and slide it down. Alright. So. Looks like the pieces are drying okay. And in the meantime, I have a few crystals that I'm working on, large sort of crystal pieces. They're blue. I started experimenting with some things. I'm not 100% happy with them. So I'm going to take this blue, which is the base color for it. Here's our smallest one. It's this little crystal cluster. You can see I started putting some veins in it, but I'm not in love with how they are looking. So I'm going to be taking some of this blue and just going right back over it. making sure everything looks good and consistent for this underside. So I'm using a much larger brush for this because it's all one color, and I don't have to worry about it getting over an area I don't want it to be. So I have that piece. The largest crystal cluster here is not fully painted. You can see there's a couple that haven't gotten coated yet, which was just by nature of holding wet paint is not great. So I am going to finish it up over on this side and then do some touching up where there needs to be a little extra paint in order to get this sort of consistent blue crystal look. And yeah, just gonna keep getting all of this blue on. These are pieces that would be great in any sort of underground cave system, things like that. Really good sort of set dressing, basically. But they can be a little... You just gotta constantly recheck and make sure you've gotten all of the angles covered. If I'm putting in the base coat on anything, is very important, but also a little tedious actually, because you have to cover so much surface area. But if you don't get a good base coat in, you're gonna have a problem with the whole rest of the figure. And now what I'm doing is I'm just going around, because I've gotten these clusters painted in. I'm just going around finding spots that need touching up, spots that aren't quite fully covered. Welcome back.
Welcome. Thank you. So that'll be like about 10 minutes maybe, and it should be dry enough we can
start gluing.
Yeah. Glue it before we paint it, probably.
Yeah. So there's a big old blue crystal cluster. Put that over there to dry. And as you can see, I started doing some veining on this. I'm not super happy with how it's turning out. So I'm also going to
just get rid of it.
Get rid of it and start from scratch. I have some different ideas for how I want it to look. So this is never be afraid to basically just erase if you're not happy with something.
So if there's time, do you want to pour more realistic water today too?
If you think it might need it.
No, we'll take a look. See what you think. We have, 2 coats of realistic water on our streams. And it looks a lot better than with one.
Yeah, I agree. So we'll take a look at those once we're...
The first time through it looked like it was just like a glossy overcoat. The second time through it looks pretty rippled.
Yeah, we want some depth and everything.
Yeah, we don't want it to be just a flat surface. Just the print itself was nice and ripply.
Yeah, it had a lot of waves in it, basically, or ripples, I guess is the right word. So I'm just really quickly covering this all up so I can start from scratch on the veins that run through. That's a little wet.
I'm just stuck there.
Was there right there?
No, I'm a little.
Alright. Just a little bit left on this crystal.
And then if we want them shiny, we can give them an overcoat
of lacquer. Yeah, which we probably will do. We have a spray lacquer, I believe, and that would work very nicely. All right. I think
now they're blue again with no veining.
That's good enough for now. Put that over here. Get some paint on areas I don't want it. Specifically, my phone. Alright. Well, that is done. What's next? Do you think the primer stuff's ready? Does it need a minute?
A couple minutes and I'll go up and get it.
Alright.
And talk aimlessly about things. You know, the never-ending rains. It's been like we've been in Ferenginar, I think, for 2 weeks now.
Yeah.
It's not as bad as some places in the country. We haven't had floods around our house, but it's been pretty damp.
Very. I can prepare for when we have the bars. We need, we'll want to paint them with steel and put an umber wash over the top to create a rusted metal bar effect.
And pull out nails.
And well, yeah, we can find the right nails.
Thinking these were long enough and let's see if they're long enough.
If they fit. I think they might just be slightly too...
pretty close. Maybe a little short.
Like, slightly short. I mean, they might be... So, these are some simple nails that will just...
Let's see if I have
slightly longer.
Skinny but longer.
Skinny but long.
You guys start filming?
They're getting primed.
Ah, so they're just back.
Yeah.
Okay. Just to make sure.
We would have to enlarge the holes on the top.
That would be taller. I think we'll have to test when we have the bars. Because these definitely look more like what we want in terms of color and everything. And size, but it'll be very tight. But if you think they're ready, you can go grab them.
Yep. If there's anything else in here that might work.
What are we printing?
I am preparing, I hope it's the right piece to complete this. 3 pieces.
Gotcha. And then we need a floor for it as well?
Yeah. So.
And ladders.
And ladders. Because I think the longer ladders for that.
Yeah, because we were using our extra cheap but free DIY.
Exactly.
So like most things, not all materials are made equal. And
these are just slightly
those probably are too
less
thick.
in diameter. They're less than this.
Yeah, those are probably too thick for what we're looking for.
Well,
I think these are our best bet, but
yeah, we'll see if they're long enough. I'll go up and
check on.
check on what we got.
Yeah.
Everybody always has to accumulate jars full of nails and screws. That's how you know.
Is that something you have to do?
Yeah, you do. You're gonna inherit some.
Oh, good.
Yeah. So you won't have to
Ever buy nails?
Sometimes it just they're get our time thing. We'll see how this all works.
Alright, sounds good. Yeah, this is an unusual episode that we are doing today. Usually we're just sitting here painting away at figures. But today we're doing a lot of odd gluing here and there. While he's grabbing those, one thing I will do is take a cup and get our black wash, which is just over here. And pop that open. And I really don't need much, but I'm gonna finish up some of this Jaguar. So I'm just gonna use a small brush for this. And it's painted in a very dark blue to look black, and I'm gonna just add in a black wash to give it that sort of extra oomph and sheen to really sell the dark black of the Jaguar. I keep saying Jaguar, sorry, it's a Puma. But a Jaguar and a Puma, I believe, are the same cat, just with a different coat color.
Use some crossbars.
Great.
Get rid of all these ladders you're not using.
And I'm just finishing out the paint on this Puma here. Getting it nice and dark. And
let me take one of these and see what happens.
the crossbar might need to slide in a little. It's our pop pin.
Mm-hmm. Slightly bigger than the we're going to need a little trimming.
Alright, so we have a nice dark Puma here. I'm just going to set that to the side and rinse off my brush. Great.
Always have drawers full of tools, things that you get to accumulate over the years because you never know
when you're slotting it in, you want the larger hole portion on top, because that's where the head of the nail sits.
Mm-hmm.
So this bar goes across like this, and the nail will drop down through the hole, like so, and it will create a cross bar. And yeah, that nail is not going to be
long enough.
So our our ideal nail is not quite long enough for what we're looking to do, unfortunately. And I think the other one will be too thick to go through.
Let's get one in just to see how it looks.
I did a test. It looks like it's hanging above the...
Yeah, it just dangles. Oh yeah, it's like a 1/4 inch thick.
Yeah,
Sure.
it's not even close enough to pretend.
So that nail will work. It's not. It doesn't look too thick as a bar.
I think it's too thick to go through the hole, though.
Well, yeah, we'll have to make all the holes bigger.
And it's a lot shinier.
No, we'll paint it.
Yeah. Put it... And part of the problem with that one will be that when it's through, we're gonna have to cut off parts of the nail along the top, too.
Yeah, I mean, each one of the nails will have to be cut. Well, that'll have to happen anyway because they're at different heights.
Mm-hmm. I was just thinking if we had something this thickness, that actually will sink down into it, see?
Mm-hmm.
Because the hole is wider. It is wide enough to accommodate it. But we don't have any this thickness that are longer.
So if I jam that in like it should be, it's now stuck. There we go. I have to make them a little bit even skinnier. A little bit further up. So this will take some manipulation because none of this stuff quite fits.
Yeah, and that's a little issue with some imprecise printing sometimes. Is that little adjustments need to be made, but that's honestly true for almost all models. Is not everything is made perfect 100% of the time, and you just need to make minor adjustments.
So yeah, I need to file the ends of these things down so that they fit into the slot. Which they didn't do. Without filing them down so much that they look like there's a big gap. So you want to just practice with one of these until we can see how it will work?
We can do that, or we can wait a little to figure these out and work on the bandit tower.
Mm-hmm. Well, your call.
Why don't we work on the bandit tower? That'll be more exciting.
Okay, yeah. Well, I got that. I just need to do the other side then.
Yeah, we know what needs to happen with that now. So, what we have is this pieces of this bandit tower, freshly primed, and these all joined together like so in order to create a stand for the floor there. We have some balsa wood pieces we've cut to use as joiner joists, and what I'm going to suggest we do actually is basically just take 2 of these, do glue, 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 right?
Mm-hmm.
And once those are set, join them to the floor, like so. And then put these on at the end, so that we're sure everything's square, because it'll be based on this. Whereas if we try and do each one at a time like this,
yeah, we'd have
there'll
to
be
hold all
some
of them.
wiggle going on.
Well, we can give that a go.
So, the way we'll want to glue these on is, you know, based on the bottom all the way as far out to the edge as we can comfortably go. To the outer edge.
Mm-hmm. We'll mix some epoxy up.
And we'll see how it goes. And luckily this way we can at least have them drying flat like this rather than holding.
Yeah, maybe ideally putting the whole thing together, squaring it all up, and then clamping it as there, but
I don't think that's feasible with this size of thing.
No, and we wouldn't be able to hold it long enough. It would just wiggle.
Yeah.
So, you make do with what you got, right?
Exactly.
And then usually it turns out okay.
Mostly. Okay enough.
Gonna have to buy more of this.
More epoxy, yeah. So Daddy was just getting the epoxy and hardener. It's a 2-part epoxy, which means it has a glue and a hardener that you mix together to create the actual sticky stuff. We're using a 5-minute epoxy, so it hardens in 5 minutes from when you mix them together.
More or less, yeah.
More or less. Sometimes more, sometimes less. So, pulling our little balsa wood joists away so you have room to work.
No, this is going to get potentially a little messy because you're right on the edge of something, right?
Yeah, and that's why we're doing this before painting, because you can always...
So I'm going to put it on the stick on one side of the stick.
Yep.
Which will then become the inside.
So that when it spreads out, it will hopefully spread out underneath it, rather than ooze out the edge.
It'll ooze out the edge.
I know, but
less.
Minimize the oozing. And then when we have those joists, what we'll do is glue the platform on top of the joists, so it'll look sort of like this.
I'm going to prepare the next one while you make sure that that's right.
Yeah. Because we'll want to do both sides, obviously. That is looking correct so far. Really?
Made way too much. Oh well. Yeah, I know, gravity. Gravity just gets you down all the time.
So. Yeah, on there. Doing some very small micro adjustments. So, as you can see, these sort of support joists we put in will adhere along the length there. And then with the little surface area on the vertical, we'll be able to put this floor on top of them and glue it in place and sort of build that superstructure. And then these will almost be like a cosmetic addition on the sides. They'll help support it, obviously, but we'll be able to have effectively a two-sided tower like that. And then the other two will just pop on the sides. Nice and easy. Yeah, those look close enough. And we're using a little isopropyl alcohol to clean up any drips, primarily on fingers and everything.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it doesn't... You can have tiny bits of this on your finger and not even know it.
Mm-hmm.
And it'll get on things.
Until you suddenly do definitely know it. Do you like the Jaguar, the dark blue and black wash?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that combination really works well. It looks... has more depth than if it's just black.
Yeah, it gives it a little slight variation that's not very noticeable.
Mm-hmm.
So while that's drying, if you want to keep filing, I guess we can do that.
I guess I can. Getting these bars to fit in the slots.
Yeah, there's just a tiny bit of wiggle room that's needed for each of these pieces. Because not everything is 100% square all the time.
Oh, yeah. When it gets printed, it's and then priming
Actually adds
to it. Yeah.
a slight amount of extra. And when we glue the bar in, what we'll probably want to do actually is drop a little glue along here. So that they're attached on the bottom as well.
Yeah, and you want to find the pieces that fit together the best. Like this has a kind of a big gap.
All of these ones have a little bit of a gap.
Oh, I see.
It's just sort of part of their nature. Probably really weird on the microphone, that noise. And then the nice part is once these are all glued together, we can just paint the balsa wood the same color and you won't even notice that it is there. But these prints were just a little too flat, that there was no area for joining them all together. And by adding these joists, not only will it give us points for glue, but it'll add to the overall structural integrity of the piece. Probably a fair amount, actually.
Yep, it's good to have integrity. So there.
And we're still printing away at a humongous set that will probably take us
many
episodes to actually get through and paint and glue together and everything like that.
Yeah, you'll be seeing us do the same thing over and over and over, like 40 times.
But that's sort of what set making is. So a character like this is gonna be, a whole lot of little intricate work and pieces and everything like that. But when
these are actually tight enough, they don't even need to be cemented.
You think so?
Yeah, you'd have to pop them out pretty hard.
So maybe
at least this one, we'll see.
Well, maybe we'll just cement the bottoms together.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so when this printed, there's like this little ridge along each one.
Since this one is ready, what I'm going to do is paint it. Yeah?
Mm-hmm, sure.
So that...
Getting that, we can glue it, because you can take it out. It'll be fast enough to just do that.
Yeah. So I am going to try and keep them together with the pieces that they are flatten it to fit. If that makes sense.
Sure, because it's all custom.
Custom
Each
fitted.
one is done separately.
So, to create this top bar, we have this steel color. And I'm going to just get this painted in a nice metallic steel.
Here, what you can do, stick that through one of the holes and then it'll hold it for you.
Ah. Okay. So. I'm actually gonna use a slightly larger brush for this. So this steel color is a nice dark metallic color. And once it is all on and dry, I can put a little umber wash over it to create a rust effect.
Trying to do this without making noise.
It's impossible.
It's just this thin piece, and it vibrates as you draw the file across.
Yeah, almost like an instrument. A really weird plastic instrument.
Let me get the little helping hands thing for doing this.
Yeah, so that they can dry.
They can grab onto the nail.
Yeah. That is going to rotate around, so there will be part that's in contact no matter what. Could I have another couple nails?
Oh yeah. Hold up.
3, ideally. Thank you.
What we can do is just order some more that are longer.
Yeah, we could just get some that would fit properly.
Mm-hmm.
Some panel board nails that are...
Yeah, half an inch longer. Might just want to do that rather than drill more holes.
Mm-hmm. That makes some sense to me.
So this is repair and adjustment day.
Repair, adjustment, and finishing on a couple random things.
Mm-hmm.
Sort of a variety.
Variety show.
Variety show, exactly. Alright, so there's another steel bar.
A thing we could do with that
Yeah.
is I've got this.
You want to run a bar across?
I was thinking, yeah,
You could do that.
it's like thinner.
Thin, yeah.
I mean, we could use the square, or use this thinner stuff and run a bar across the bottoms of these for that to rest on.
You could do that.
Yeah.
It would probably only be able to do on the two sides, and then these would just attach on the outside.
Yeah, but that would.
It would be some more structure, though.
Mm-hmm. Just long enough to make two.
No.
No. So what do you think?
I think it'll be fine. If you think it would help.
I think it would help, because we're going to try to put both sides on at once, and if that's sitting vertical, it's going to flop all over. But if we stand these vertical, it would rest on that, and we could square them up. In fact, we could put all the pieces together kind of at once.
Almost, yeah.
Yeah, because otherwise that floor does
very little. This steel has been really extra messy for my hand.
We could put it on all four. I mean, it's just right across the bottom of the...
Well, the problem would be if it's resting on top of these, you'd have to, cut a notch in it so it could rest on them as well, the other direction. You would basically have to cut an angle in, and then so it could rest, so both beams could rest.
On it.
Otherwise, it wouldn't be doing anything functional.
Well, it would, because it would be glued to the rest. It doesn't have to. It doesn't have to rest on those to be supportive.
I suppose. I'm not sure exactly how much it would help to do the extra. But it might.
I was just thinking in terms of holding it together and positioning.
It might.
Okay, just one more to go.
steel all in. Alright. I don't really have room for another one of those sewer things here. There's too many pieces floating here. I like to have all these sets sitting around here.
Maybe we should clean up on one of these days. We can have a cleaning off your work surface episode. Yeah. It's like, oh, what is this doing here? Let's just throw it out. That's what that was. I was wondering. The worst ones are, oh yeah, we need to keep this. Where should we put it? We'll just leave it right here.
Uh-huh.
Let's keep the other one fairly quiet. I'm not sure why this one's going so weird. Yeah, not really cooperative either.
That's always the last one that's the hardest.
Yeah, there's two things. Either when you're doing something, you don't really catch on to what you're doing and get good at it until you're down to the last three of whatever. Or that's the screw that won't come out, or the screw that won't go in, or the piece that won't fit no matter what you do to it. It's actually more often that than not, isn't it?
Yeah.
No, we're almost done. Just one more. No.
Okay. Just give me the... Okay. I don't have anywhere to put the... Just give me the point. Thanks.
I've got all this not room here.
No.
Maybe something just like that.
Yeah, we can do that. I think that...
It would raise it up just a little bit from the bottom, but it's on the inside, you'd never know.
No, that would be totally fine. This one is looser on the nail than all the others, which makes the whole thing wobble and be completely uncooperative for painting, which means my hands will be a messier than they already are, which is always fun. These need to be out of the way for a minute, which is easier said than done right now. Sort of the best I can do.
Yeah, the bench is all full of remnants from previous projects.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, for this, I'm going to put the epoxy along the bottom of the plastic instead of on the wood because, well, no, here. There's a little bit of things you got to grab onto.
Mm-hmm. And then you also want to put it on top of these.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, just a spot on top of each one.
This is a little bit like when a skyscraper has a steel superstructure and all of the bricks or blocks or whatever just hang off around the side of it. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. It's kind of like that.
But in this case, it's also wood. Which is almost identical to steel in almost every single way.
Did you know that those giant turbine blades, you know, the wind turbines?
Yeah.
The inside of them has traditionally been made with balsa.
As a core?
Mm-hmm. I mean, that's a lot of balsa wood.
But it's for lightness and just to fill the space?
Well, lightness and strength. But they're finding that, you know, they're using up the balsa wood. So they're trying to find alternatives, and now they're looking at things more like styrofoam. I mean, you know, use a petrochemical instead, but there's always that trade-off of you know, there aren't exactly balsa wood plantations, so they're cutting them down wild trees.
Are there balsa wood plantations?
No, that needs to be pushed up against it.
Yeah, it slid down on its own. Alright, so
that just needs to sit.
Will the next thing then be to hang this on top?
I think we put it all together at once.
put this on top and then put these on the sides.
Mm-hmm.
And it'll create a nice platform.
Yeah. I think we'll only need to put epoxy across the top of these and the outsides of these, right?
Theoretically.
Mm-hmm.
Well, across the very top of this. And then, yeah.
Yeah, and then the outsides.
And if you want to put crossbars on these, like you were saying, you can. I don't think they'll do all that much, but...
No, I don't think it's necessary. Because the base pieces will be held by this.
Yeah.
And the plastic part will be held on both sides.
Mm-hmm.
And hopefully it'll all fit.
Well, it should fit enough.
Mm-hmm. You can always fill in cracks.
That just needs a little bit of time to set.
Mm-hmm. And you've got the putty to use for cracks.
Mm-hmm.
Is there a pen or a pencil there that's working?
Maybe. You could try this one.
Chopping list. And we really need them by 2 inches.
Yeah. We need the length. Is the problem.
We need rubber
Yeah.
Okay.
Hi there, Just Flippity. How are you doing today?
Hi.
We're doing sort of a variety of things today. Normally we're painting figures, but we've done some repair work on figures, and I painted a little bit more on this little Jaguar here, but we're putting together, gluing, doing all sorts of things. So we're adding a balsa-wood superstructure to a piece that we are working on here that will end up being a little tower. There's 4 sides, but it'll look loosely like this. You know, for playing D&D with. And we found that we wanted to add some joists.
Yeah, some support structure underneath because there weren't any good contact surfaces for the epoxy. You
know, figure painting is one of those things that's pretty fun, but yeah, it can be a little intimidating. But you know, you can always buy some figures, like this is one of my older characters online, and I think so. Let me see if I can get a focus. There we go. And here's a lot of dark, so it's a little hard to see, but you know, it's kind of just do it, get started, and if you ever want to, and you go through. The nice thing about painting is that you can make all sorts of mistakes and go back over. And if you ever need to, you can even strip the paint off and get some nice pieces. But yeah, I'd start with water-based paints for sure, and you know, you can make environmental pieces. One of the things we're working on are we have a larger sewer tile set that this is part of, and they're all joined together on these bases with magnets. We use this on our D&D show, which is Sunday, and what we're doing right now actually is we're creating some crossbars that go across the top of here, and then we're going to run nails down them to create a gate, a fence, grate,
a barred barrier.
A barred barrier across some of them.
Of bars.
But we also have, like, this is a plaster wall piece for a different set that we've made. We're waiting for some epoxy to dry, and this might be dry enough. Give it another minute, maybe. But we're kind of doing a fun
it's pretty close.
Odd glue day today, rather than painting a lot of models. We could quickly check our streams and make a decision on it if you want. So we printed off these river tiles. This was our prototype that we put together. And we have a water effect going over the top. And we were producing a larger number of them, and we're going to make some choices on
whether we want to add more
thank you.
Realistic water or not.
Yeah. Let me grab one of these. It's sort of stuck, which is why we put it in the pan, because sometimes there is a little leakage. Like you can see there's a little leak here. We tried our best to seal up the edges. I feel like honestly, I think it's fine the way it is. Don't you?
I think it looks pretty good.
I think so,
and it has
too.
a good ripply effect, and it doesn't look like it's just
flat.
It doesn't look like it's just like sprayed with something glossy. There's a little depth to it.
Yeah, and so like these are pieces that we printed ourselves here, and just over there there's some printers. Painted, primed, and I think since they seem dry across all the way, we used this, it's called Realistic Water. It's sort of a resin. It's actually made for train sets, but there's a lot of fun things that you can get from train sets. So I'm going to remove...
Oh, it's not going to come off. You're going to have to use... Hold on, it'll pull.
It comes off.
Okay, you don't want to cut along the edge? I think you want to cut along the edge.
I guess. What? We don't want to leave it there forever.
No. What I mean is, cut along this edge.
Oh, yeah, we can cut along that.
Cut along this edge.
Of the liquid.
Of the liquid, so that when you pull the tape off, it doesn't pull.
Any of them?
Yeah. You don't get a ragged edge.
Yeah. Okay. I see what you're saying, though.
No, you thought I meant cut the tape off and leave the tape on it.
Yeah.
No.
Which I thought was really weird.
I want to cut through the clear...
The clear coat. Yep. So, this will be a nice addition. We built a large bridge as well earlier, that we can have span over the top of the water. But if you have any questions about like how to get started or like how we're doing something, feel free to ask. Here's Lexi in back, who's maybe not quite visible, but she's changing over some of our 3D prints. That we're working on an extremely large cut stone dungeon set. It has sort of a similar look to the sewer tiles that we made, but they're straight walled and not filled with algae and poop. How's it going?
Oh, there was this little edge that still cleaning. It's hard to tell when you're all the way through. But the tape will grab onto this to that. So everything's a little more of a pain than
you want it to be. But in the end, you get a nice piece like this that you can have a whole river running through your battle, creating a giant pain for the players to deal with. Got it off?
Mm-hmm.
Now just the other side, right?
Mm-hmm.
We only have to do that a whole bunch of times. We have,
Well, getting it done once kind of tells me what needs to be done.
yeah. So I think all told we have how many of these river pieces?
There's 5 straight ones. 4 curves.
5 straight ones and 4 curved pieces. And we just use really rusty pie tins that were literally just there to, if you get a spill, not be worried about having them get ruined.
Finish those.
Is that cut off?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the rusty pie tins have been saved because I used to refinish furniture, and the pie tins are where the paint remover went. That's what I used to hold it.
So we had a slight spill from that along the bottom here. There's some of this resin clear coat stuff. It's gotten in there and it's actually a little rusty. So I'm gonna want to remove that. Okay. Since it's the bottom, it's not like an exceedingly delicate part. But I'm just gonna take this sort of X-Acto blade and see how horribly hard it is to remove. Not too bad.
Well, the last one came off really well, and this one's coming off just terrible.
Yeah. So we had some spillover because that seal just wasn't as good as like this side, for example, which came out really nice. You can actually see the level of the water clear coat on it, whereas this, the clear coat wrapped down around the side, where the seal wasn't perfectly in place. So I'm just gonna scrape this bottom bit off so that it's an even floor, mostly even. Like so. And I don't know if we particularly care that there's some clear coat along the edge here. It doesn't really affect.
As long as they, touch each other well enough so that it doesn't look weird.
So we have 2 pieces now. Our prototype piece and our new piece. And you can make nice long wide rivers with that. And these two got actually, the tape got stuck together. So we can
just cut it.
Alright, this one is also to be removed. It looks like the seal on this one might have been a lot better than on the last one. There's a little tiny spillage along the side here. You can see this little flap. And just so that it doesn't stick onto anything, I'm gonna just really lightly remove that little piece. There. River tile number 3. I am just, well, you're doing that, cleaning up a couple.
Cleaning up some things.
Bits and pieces that have been in the way.
Scraps of aluminum foil. The foil was for
Our Halloween episode.
which you can see on
Halloween weekend.
Saturday and Sunday.
Not this.
30th and 31st.
Yep. We filmed a 2-part Halloween special just recently, and
it's really good. I mean, really an excellent D&D show.
And that will be airing, like we said, this Halloween weekend. That is coming up soon. It's pre-taped. It's in post-production right now.
Well,
that one actually was the best sealed of them all so far. But yeah, it was really a lot of fun and pretty spooky.
Yeah, there were some parts in it that were really excellent. Just amazing.
Yeah.
And as the episode went on, it just got better.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought we were just all going to die at the end, because we actually almost
Some of us especially.
Mm-hmm. We were trapped. We were trapped and couldn't find our way out. And we're being just slowly kind of tortured. I mean, it wasn't like a torture chamber torture. It was like, if we don't get out of here really soon, this place is going to kill us. And we kept not getting out.
Well, and don't spoil the and one of our kitties showed up.
Hey, Tesla.
Alright, so this is all of our straight river tiles. So we can make a very long river. It's pretty fun. Set those back here. Did you cut this side?
I guess so. Doesn't look like it though. Yeah. It came back up.
Weird. Alright. I am accumulating a awkward little pile of resiny duct tape slices. Okay, let's see. Looks like it's sealed well enough. Alright.
Most of these bends, curves are pretty good. This one's
Fighting a little.
Yeah.
We have just enough bends to do a full U-turn in the river. If we want.
You can go back from where you came.
I get a little cut right there.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it's nice to finally have these done. The main problem with these river tiles is the curing time that this realistic water takes. It technically is cured in 24 hours, but realistically, this is like
2 weeks.
a week per layer.
Yeah, and it's still never really, I mean, you can touch it, but it's never really hard. Like when I'm cutting through it, it's still kind of like soft plastic. So I guess you just call it soft plastic. It has a surface you can touch, but it's still very pliable.
If you really, yeah, if you went with a knife or something.
Yeah. Or as they say, if you put something heavy on it, it will leave an impression.
Mm-hmm. So it's not like perfect, but for something like in a D&D game, as long as you're not doing something really weird with it.
Yeah, and it really does look better than just putting a gloss paint on something.
Yeah, like a lacquer spray or something like that. So there's a little bit of rough on this edge from the seal not being perfect, so I'm just gonna lightly trim, scrape away a tiny bit of that so it sits together more flush with it, so with its partners.
That's the last one?
Should be. Similarly, this has a slight
So do you want to finish up by gluing together the stand and see how it goes?
So there's our U-bend. Yeah, we will finish today. Set these river tiles off and back here so that they're out of the way. Minimize how much mess we have to deal with. Spill some water, that's always important.
Okay.
I need a paper towel.
Another one. Good enough, or you need one more?
I don't know. I just need to get stuff. It's feeling a little chaotic today.
Some of these are wet.
Yep.
Yeah, well, things lay down on top of other things, and then things. Okay.
Alright, so what's important is that we now have a very good impetus to clear out some stuff. Alright. Now that that's out of the way.
Are we done with the steel paint?
Yeah.
I'm going to put water in it so it doesn't dry in the cup.
Here, that as well. Alright. Now,
all these little cups full of paint that needs to be.
We will finish today, finally, by gluing together our bandit platform.
Right. So basically, we want epoxy on the
outside edge
there,
and along
there,
the top.
and there on both.
Yes.
And then we'll stand it up.
Place this on top, and then attach those two on the sides.
Hold it in for a little bit to see if it stays square, and hopefully it will.
Yeah, this is exciting. And air on the inside corner.
Yeah, of both.
Today was definitely a chaotic day. We started with internet troubles, and it's just been ongoing since then, basically.
Yeah. There's been gravity down here, and so things have fallen.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing's broken.
Other than we fixed some broken things.
Yeah,
mostly.
they were broken before we started.
I had to re-glue the staff head on this figure, for example.
Mm-hmm. And we have to put the arm back on the other one.
So it's just been all over the place. I kind of miss just sitting and painting a horse now.
You can finish the other one.
No, that one's yours. I already painted 4 of the 6.
Yeah, you did. So are we going to be painting tiles next? Big production line kind of thing?
If we can get through it, yeah.
So I'm putting the epoxy on the edges of these balsa wood things, which are there to hold the pieces together in place. Because otherwise, these pieces are made to have no contact points.
Yeah.
Just nothing at all. So we have created contact points for the gluing stuff. It's not actually not glue, I guess. Pure epoxy. I guess you can call it glue. Adhesive.
Adhesive. It's close enough to glue that in common parlance.
So I'm sitting here in a way so that you can't really see what I'm doing.
It's pretty straightforward. It's just taking
those using little bits on a toothpick and
spreading it
around where we want it to not show.
So it has small dabs of glue all along it. What I am going to be doing is placing it on top of that wood here.
Okay, I put that in exactly the wrong spot.
Yep.
Did I get it wrong on those two?
No.
Okay, well this one was wrong. It needs to go on the outside of this edge, not on the inside.
And these will adhere there, but I want to get the other side on first.
Yeah, I'm trying to get it on. Well, it's still liquid enough. I mean, you want it tacky at this point because you want it to hold quickly.
It's a balancing.
So you don't have to hold everything forever. But you also don't want it already set so that it doesn't stick anymore. Almost done. I just need to do the top here. It's starting to set up. I can feel it. Okay, so those together, and then we want these attached to the sides. I sort of, but don't quite line up.
All right. Like glue surgically.
How does it look on that side?
Not quite. Here, I'll worry on this side because I can see it. And you do that side.
Since I can see this. This one's caving in on the bottom. Okay, this. The bottoms keep getting pushed in.
I know, I'm not doing it. I think it looks okay on this side right now. This side's pushed out on the bottom right now.
No, that's because it's not exactly straight.
This looks okay on this side right now.
This one's okay on this side. So you just need to hold it for another minute.
And not move.
Mm-hmm.
This is the exciting world of blue. Now, ideally, you'd have a fancy custom clamp that holds just this specific thing.
You'd have put together some sort of thing just for that, yeah.
I think it might be stable enough to like...
No, it's falling apart on this side. When you pull.
Isn't?
Yeah, we got another, like, 45 seconds. And this is how we're going to end today. We're just going to be standing here until sometime, when's the next one? Monday?
Friday.
Yeah, we'll be here Friday, and you'll see us holding this, I guess. So let's say count to 100 slowly.
2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. You're glued to yourself, aren't you?
Yeah, I'm glued to myself. Fortunately, it's a really crappy sweatshirt.
One, 21, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40, 41, 42, 43, 44, 45, 46, 47, 48,
Actually,
49, 50. Why don't we pull
let's see if I
away?
can get my hands on it. See if it moves.
It's, I wouldn't mess with it too much for a little wet, but I think
Once it's painted, it's going to look good.
that once we have paint on it, yeah.
Mm-hmm. If we need to, we can fill in some cracks.
Here's a little color. Put it there so you can see it.
So Friday, you'll see somebody paint it.
Yeah.
And that'll be easy painting because it's going to be
All wood.
brown.
Maybe we'll do something where like these inner parts of the wood and the platform are dark brown and then like lighter brown for the beams.
Yeah, we could do that just for some
Just to give it, because if it's just all one brown, it would look fine. But if it has some variety to it,
it'll look finer.
it'll look even finer. And now, technically speaking, there's a whole another level that gets added on top like that with another platform that we will probably want to glue in before, but what we'll want to do is something similar structure wise, and then have it slot in and glued once it's all together.
We're going to find out that since they're going on the inside, that
it's like one tiny bit too small.
these will fit fine.
And then the platform will need like
some adjustments as well.
adjustments.
Like these are going to be too big
Yeah.
by the width of that.
I'm just trying to be gentle with it while it's drying.
Yeah. So
So, we'll see how it goes. But that is for another time. Thanks, everyone who showed
Thank you.
up. Sorry about the technical difficulties at the start.
see you Friday.
Friday. Yep. Bye.